Good evening and welcome back. As I promised, I've got a very celebrated teacher with over 21 years of amazing experience with me on the hot seat in the studio this evening. Make sure that you make the most of this opportunity by calling in and addressing your questions and clarifications. Ma'am, it's a pleasure to have you with us. Thanks a lot for accepting our invitation.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure, ma'am. I've done my bit of introducing you, but I'm sure the viewers would like to hear it directly from you. Can you tell us a little more about yourself?
I was born in Calcutta in West Bengal, but my father had a transferable job, so he was all over India, and then I spent a good amount of years in Muscat.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I went to school over there, and then I went to college in Shimla in Himachal Pradesh.
Okay.
And I have been with Delhi Public School since 1993.
1993, so I was right when I said 21 approximately, yeah, 21 years. What's your current assignment, ma'am?
I'm the principal at the moment of DPS Academy.
DPS Academy, and you've held that position for how long?
The principal's position for 1 year.
Okay.
But before that, I was the senior headmistress at DPS Sharjah.
Okay, okay. And this was a new school, I presume,
This is
right?
a new school. We just opened in 2013.
Okay, so
Yes.
you moved on to this new school as a principal, I presume.
Yes.
Okay, okay. I've done a little bit of research about you and the projects you've done, and I was reading about this Light a Billion campaign.
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit about that, ma'am?
Well, Light a Billion Lives campaign is Terry's project, which we did with them to, bring light to the underprivileged in India. There are many pockets in India which have no electricity.
Really, yes.
So we provided solar lanterns in a very special way. The children did some projects like growing plants and their handicrafts. They sold that. They earned money for the lesser privileged counterparts that they had.
Great.
So
that's great.
So that just to instill in them the feeling of compassion and the feeling that we need to look after our
definitely. And I think that's a responsibility that you need to instill in them when they're pretty young. Was the project successful, ma'am? Could you achieve your targets?
Oh yes, we've till I was there, a number of villages were lighted up.
Oh my God! Okay.
Yes, yes, and we in fact were also invited to. We were invited to Greenathon. We were part of that. Then we were part of. The Delhi Sustainable Development Summit, where the Honorable Prime Minister was also there.
Wow.
And it was just to spread awareness that everyone should come forward and do whatever they can for their country, and that was a step towards that.
Definitely, that's quite a noble initiative, ma'am. I'm so happy that it was successful. This is $1 million question. Why did you choose to become a teacher?
Well, I don't know if it runs in families, but my great-grandmother was a teacher, my grandmother was a teacher, and her stories of students and the way she used to check and grade papers, that was inspiration enough to want to become a teacher. And the fact that I love children was only another positive
Wow, that's
thing.
great. It's about loving your job and loving the responsibilities of the job as well. I've got a very similar story, ma'am. My dad was a teacher himself, and he used to tell me, wherever you go, you'll hear the sea calling for you. So despite working in the corporate industry, the first opportunity that I got, I came back to teaching, and that's quite a noble profession to be in. I think we need to encourage our children to take up this noble profession as well. Ma'am, I'm sure you face a lot of challenges every day, a lot of things that make you happy. What's the most interesting, enriching part of your job?
The most enriching, I would say, I would like to tell a small story over here.
Sure.
I was at the Dubai airport, the T3 airport, and I suddenly saw a huge man running towards me and came and hugged me with absolutely no inhibition, and he said, "Ma'am, you taught me in kindergarten," and he was I said, "Really?" So he said, and he was so from his soul he said, "You've become older," and I think that kind of love that you get can only come from children and your students. So seeing them grow in front of you, go out into the world, become successful personalities, is very fulfilling and very enriching.
True. And I think that's
that is the best remuneration, and
exactly.
I have enjoyed that.
That's the biggest payoff that you
Yes.
get. During our trainings, especially with the senior management in the corporate sector, ma'am, we asked them to list one inspiring experience that they've had, one experience that changed their lives forever. It could be a book, it could be a program, but 90% of them talk about a teacher. And I think it's a very noble profession indeed that we're doing.
Students always remember their teachers.
Exactly, and probably more than your high school and your college teachers, we tend to remember our junior school teachers more.
Yes.
Makes it even more noble. $1 million question, ma'am. There are a lot of parents and enthusiastic students watching the program. We had a couple of weeks back 2 students from DPS, 2 winners of the Sheikh Hamdan Award. Now, this is a question most parents ask us. How are successful students different? Because let me be very specific. They go to similar schools, come from similar backgrounds, have the same resources that others have. But what makes them different?
What really makes them different, I feel the successful ones are the ones with a great amount of focus, goal setting, and they start moving towards their goal at a very early age. And they learn to, concentrate and know what they want. Where they have made informed decisions, and they move towards that. So those are the children who are not frivolous. I'm not saying that you have to bury yourself in books, but the ones who are very clear about what they want are the ones who are successful.
Great. I think what you've said aligns perfectly with what we've been talking about in the last couple of weeks. Focus, ambition, drive, having goals, and then the determination to go ahead. And knowing what you want in life. Now comes the $1 million question again, ma'am. Again, similar resources, similar backgrounds. What equips certain children to have this, and why is it that many other kids don't have all these characters?
Primarily, I would say it is the home environment, the home setup, because these values come from parents. Basically, the environment that is created, the talk that they have. We understand that it's a time where parents are very busy, and but it's the quality time that matters. What they say to the children, the confidence that they put in them. So primarily it comes from them, and of course from good teachers when they go to a good school, and interacting with other children. And
children who are successful probably.
Yes. All these things make a difference.
Great. The environment that you set at home, the influence of good teachers, and of course peer influence as well. I think ma'am was talking about having ambitious and determined students as friends. Make sure that you have right friends who give you energy and give you more focus, and who do not drain. I want to share a personal experience. As part of a project that we did a couple of years back, I happened to visit the homes of students who had won the Sheikh Hamdan Award. And I was amazed, ma'am, to find that both parents of most of these children were pursuing their education. So when you talk to them, they'll say, okay, I came in here as an engineer. From here, I took my master's. Right now, I'm doing my PhD. And you go inside, you'll see pictures of them holding trophies, and so that's the kind of environment that you should create. If you've just passed out of college and if you've come here and then you don't pursue your education, I think it's going to be very tough to convince our children to follow suit as well. Ma'am, I think there's a caller online, someone who wants to speak to us live on air. Hello.
Hello, this is Justin actually.
Hi, Mr. Justin. Welcome to the show, and thank you for calling.
Yeah, I just want to talk to Ms. Mausumi, the principal of DPS.
Sure. She's hearing you. She's hearing you live. You can address your question, please.
Okay.
You can ask us the question.
Yeah, ma'am. Nowadays there is an inspection coming up from the KSDA in the schools. What about that? How do you understand it's a helpful method for the students?
I beg your pardon. How do you? He said how.
Yeah, we heard about the KHD a bit. You told us that KHD is coming for an inspection. Could you repeat the second part of your question again?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. How do you expect it's a helpful method? How do you think it's a helpful method for the students in your school?
Okay, I think the question is, ma'am, is it helpful?
How is it
helpful? Okay.
Yeah, you see, whatever we do for the children, we do it for their benefit. But when we do something, to put it in very simple words, if we do something wrong or we don't follow the best practices or the best systems, then there is someone to check us, to correct us. And in the long run, it is our students who benefit from it when they are in institutions which are well planned, well systemized, and it does help the students.
Is it some way helping you to improve in your, is that what you're saying?
Is it helping us to improve, did he say?
Yes, I think ma'am's point was, even if you have good practices in place, it's always nice to have an external body inspect you and then suggest best practices.
And then regulate us, and in the long run, the KHDA is for the welfare of the students. So.
Okay.
I think ma'am has answered your question. Has she answered your question?
Thank you very much.
Our pleasure. Thank you. Join us online again. Ma'am, we'll come back to our question, but before that, I was reading the KHDA report for the last year, and it had a comment which says in the Indian schools, teachers talk too much. What do you have to say about this? I was surprised looking at the comment. Is it that they don't engage the students, or?
I don't know exactly what they meant.
Okay.
But I mean, if they are talking to the students, then it cannot be bad.
Exactly.
We want in this age of iPhones, iPads, and laptops and computers.
Okay.
I sometimes feel, and with me, my colleagues and other parents feel that children talk. They are too much to themselves, and they don't converse. But I tell you, when if teachers talk to the students, they pick up. There is always something to learn, and you need to have good communication skills to get by in life.
Yeah.
So
I think it should be taken as a blessing and not as a pain.
Oh no, not at all.
$1 million question again. I think I have a lot of $1 million questions for you today, ma'am. A lot of students complain about the workload. Okay, and some of them come to us and say, I'm sure I'll never use trigonometry in my life ever. I'll never use algebra in my life forever. Why do I have to learn all this? So what could be your answer? I'm sure so many of them watching the show would have the same question.
See, there is a certain amount of basic work in different subjects that you need to know and you need to study. Okay. When you study that, right up to the middle school, a student is not able to take a decision as to what that child wants to do in future, but only when it is a few higher classes, say the higher school, when they finish school and they cover a certain amount of course in different subjects, they are able to take these informed decision about what stream they want to pursue and what they really want to do. So you may not use, but you have imbibed certain concepts which is going to stand you in good stead sometime in life. For me, like I'm an English literature person, and when I did maths, I wasn't fond of maths ever, but I mean I do have to deal with accounts very regularly. True. I mean, I would need that kind of information even in my life. It's not as if I can only pursue what I want to do and blank out the rest of the world. So it doesn't work that way.
True. I think I fully agree with you, ma'am. I was reading about a report from the Silicon Valley which talks about the second tier of most of the Fortune 500 companies in the US, and they're Indians working in the US, passed out probably from the IITs and the IIMs. So people who complain about Indian education, I think we need to do our research a little bit. Young friends, as ma'am said, make sure that your basics are right. as you progress along, as you go along, there will come a day where you can definitely choose a topic of specialization. Till then, make sure that you amass enough knowledge to have a strong foundation.
Yes.
Ma'am, this is a show where our young friends and the family watches together. Yeah, so we've got a lot of parents watching the show as well. How can they help? This is a question. I've got a teacher here, and the teacher is
parents can help in a very big way, obviously. Okay. But the most important thing I would want to say over here is, please don't pass on your anxiety to your children, because education, learning, these are joyful experiences. They should be joyful experiences. Learning should be fun. And by being, anxious, by being worried about it, you take away that joy. And please refrain from that. Also understand another important thing, that every child is unique, every child is different, and every child has different capabilities and different talents. You can hone the talents that you feel that your child possesses, but to expect that they are going to excel in each and every field is doing injustice to them.
Wow, that's a lot of food for thought. Speaking about interaction between parents and students, when I go for my to my son's or daughter's school, sometimes you feel irritated when a parent ahead of you spends probably 20 to 25 minutes talking about individual mark sheets. Is that the right way to communicate with teachers, or should you have an ongoing conversation with them?
We always encourage parent-teacher engagement.
Okay.
And parents should be in touch with the teacher. But I think after a certain amount of time, what happens is the parent may generally develops a lot of confidence in the teacher. And even if you don't, even if you have any doubts, I think let the child, grow up at their own pace. Let the child develop his or her relationship with the teacher at their own pace. Like, no parent forces a relationship on the child. It's a very natural, blossoming thing between the child and the parent.
True.
So it should be same between the teacher and the student. And also here I would like to say is, every teacher loves their student as much as a parent would. So you have to trust and take it from there.
Exactly. Thank you for that, ma'am. Another $1 million question, forgive me for that. Should parents help their children with homework?
Yes, why not? Why not?
Okay.
I mean, see, usually students should be independent and do their work themselves. But wherever they need, the parent has to step in. That is the duty of a parent.
Okay. My only concern is, ma'am, let's say my son comes to me with a doubt in math. I'm not good at math. And my inability to understand the problem and my frustration of having to go through math again, won't that rub off on my child?
Okay, here I want to give an example of my own child.
Okay.
When my younger son, was studying, I said that, your mother doesn't know Arabic.
Okay.
And I will not be able to help you in Arabic.
True.
So you go to class, you pick up everything that is taught in Arabic and come back, because I will not be able to help you.
Exactly.
He took it so seriously that till he passed, now he's at university.
Okay.
But he never asked me for help, neither did I ever have to send him for any tuitions or extra classes.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. And I think that's for you guys. Make sure that you keep your ears and your mind open in class. Make sure that you lap it all up. Any doubts, definitely ask your teachers. They'll be willing to help you all the way. And yes, if you need any additional support, your parents are always there.
Yes.
Ma'am, I probably need to skip a question because I want to come to the most important one. These are two questions that our viewers requested us to ask in the show. A lot of people are recommending homeschool nowadays, and especially on the social media, you find success stories of homeschooling. What do you advise?
A student needs to go to school because he or she needs to interact with other students, other individuals, needs to interact with adults. Needs to have good communication skills, needs to know how to make friends, develop friendships, have compassion for others, empathy for others. These won't be possible in a home school. That is what I believe. That's my personal opinion. However, if in a certain country or in a certain environment, in a certain situation, the school, it's not a good school, or it's not a good environment to send to school, or there is a problem with the faculty, or there's a problem with the student community in certain parts of the world, then of course homeschooling is your only option, and it can be very fruitful. And in this day and age where you are, you know, virtually connected and the entire world is in your drawing room, then homeschooling is not a problem. But should you get an opportunity, and if you have opportunities to go to a good school, then definitely you must opt for the child to go out of the house beyond their home and develop at another place like a good school.
Thank you, ma'am. I think the next question is connected to this. Ma'am's point is, well, that could be used as a last resort. That has its advantages, but definitely exposing your children to the outer world where they meet with their peers, and that's how the big bad world is going to be, you know. They wouldn't work in isolation.
And in today's world we are raising global citizens.
Exactly.
We are not raising citizens of any country.
True,
you know, so they should be able to, you know, communicate with others and be in any part of the world and be a success.
Exactly, exactly. And I think this next question is related. I've got another caller online. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Welcome to the
Hello.
show. Hi.
Yeah. It's not audible.
Can I know your name, please?
I'm Rajiv here, Mr. Sangeet.
Yes. Could you repeat your name?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
I'm Rajiv. I'm the teacher, no?
Oh, Mr. Rajiv. Okay.
Yes.
Rajiv conducts the same show on another day. He's a physics teacher at the Sharjah Indian School. Welcome to the show, sir. You have a question for us?
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to share some views with her. In fact, I wanted her opinion.
Okay.
Anyway, good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Yeah, I'm Rajiv here. I just wanted to clarify two things. First of all, you know, in fact, it's a burning issue, because even teachers are not ready to send their children to take up a teaching profession. So, because of that, you know, the quality of teaching, it goes down day by day, year by year.
Very right.
So, what exactly is the solution for it? In fact, the future generation is being trained by teachers who are not up to that, up to that extent or that caliber. So, how will we attract a good caliber group, the green group of children towards the teaching profession?
Mr. Rajiv, thank you for your question. As we know that this is exactly what I was trying to say, and that is, let not the parents be directive of the stream or the line that an individual has to take. And it doesn't matter that parents don't encourage, but it is the child, it is the student who will take this informed decision of choosing their career. I love children. My parents, I come also, you know, there are lots of engineers and doctors, and I was encouraged. I was a good student. I was encouraged to take up, you know, some other professional line. But it is within you to be selecting your profession as much as anybody else. I know a child who went to the UK to study English literature, and then after some time the parents were hoping that she would get into, you know, business studies and things like that. But she has now come up with a decision of pursuing literature, and you know, she's taken this decision of going into teaching. So it is, I think mostly it depends on what an individual wants to do. So I think maybe we don't need to worry about that.
But it is not the general scenario, ma'am. This is not the general scenario. In fact, you know, everyone prefers to go some or the other jobs except teaching. It's the general scenario I'm talking about.
See,
so because of that, the coming generation is what is getting affected.
I know. I agree with you to an extent. It is the passion of an individual who will select this. But another great reason is that the teaching profession is not well paid.
Exactly.
And we need people to address that issue on a very urgent basis, but then
Yes, exactly. That's what I wanted to share with you.
Thank you.
So you were leading me to it.
Thank you.
Thank you for being there in this program. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Pleasure, Rajiv. Ma'am, I was reading about the Finnish education system, and I exhort parents also to take a look. Exactly as ma'am said, yes, we need to encourage our children, if they love teaching, to take up teaching professions, but I think the system has to change a bit as well.
Yes.
The Finnish system is the best system in the world, and Finnish students score the highest when it comes to standardized tests. One secret, teaching is the highest paid profession in the country. Teachers are even paid more than heart surgeons over there. Yes, you need to be competent, you need to have your masters and a PhD to take up teaching, but then I think it works both ways.
Yeah.
Respect this profession that creates all other professions. And of course, we'll have a quality stream coming in. I think it's time for our last question, ma'am. We would have loved to have you again, and I'm sure we'll welcome you aboard again if it's convenient for you. If you're given the key, and if you've given the liberty to change one thing or a couple of things in education, what would you change?
Well, I would love to change a few things, but the foremost that comes to my mind is, I think you were talking about this just a few minutes back, about the Indian education, which is really good and of very good standard.
True.
We've had the history of Nalanda University, and we come from a land where there were gurukuls, and education was given so much of importance and so much of respect. But our degrees, our qualifications, there are citizens of India who are so well qualified, who have such big degrees from Indian universities, which are very good. We have IIT, we have Delhi College of Engineering, we have lots of other universities. But you come to the rest of the world, and your degrees are sent in for equivalency, for approvals, and which is so painful for people who are so well qualified. But the attitude is that of that we don't think much of your qualification, or we don't think much of your degrees. Whereas if you have a degree from the US or the UK or so many other countries, you don't need to go in for an equivalency either.
True.
That is extremely sad for an Indian.
True.
That is extremely sad, because we come from a very strong education system.
Exactly.
And I wish something can be done about it. I wish I get an opening to do something about it.
Such a noble thought, ma'am. Exactly. We need to really understand how rich our traditions are, and how strong our foundations are.
Yes.
And being in the corporate sector, we get to recruit a lot of people,
Yes.
and we see amazing amounts of common sense, which is very important.
Yes.
In
Our
students
Indian
coming from India.
students go to the rest of the world and perform very well.
Exactly.
Indians do very well all across the globe.
True.
So how can they not be coming from a good education system?
Exactly. I think we all need to support ma'am in this initiative to make sure that our education system is positioned appropriately, and it gets its due. I'll try to slip in a couple more questions, ma'am, before we take a break. Because we talked about leadership and performing well internationally, other than academic excellence, what other goals are pursued in your classrooms?
Well, it's we pursue a kind of a holistic kind of a development in classroom. We give a lot of importance to, keeping the flame of curiosity alive in every child. They shouldn't fear, they shouldn't be intimidating, they shouldn't get scared of asking questions, whether in the classroom or at home. So those are one, and of course sports, that we to inculcate a healthy lifestyle in every student. And also, the values that we teach, the values of love, sharing, kindness, compassion. I mean, it's endless. So those are very important, because like I said earlier, as a global citizen, a child needs those.
True.
Needs to be equipped with those on an equal footing with. Actually, academics is now, I would like to replace the word academics with learning.
Okay.
Yeah, learning is a continuous process.
True. I'm sure a lot of your students will be watching. They'll probably watch it when it is re-telecasted again. And we've got Republic Day coming up tomorrow. What would be your message to our young Indian boys and girls out there? So what would you want to tell them?
Oh, I hope I don't sound hackneyed, but I would just like to say that focus, make an informed decision, follow your heart, but also follow your mind, take the correct decision, listen to your elders, because you feel that you know a lot, and you do know a lot, and you can share a lot with your parents, but then after all, parents have gone through this life and they have more experience. So if you could use that experience, and no one loves you more than your parents and your teachers. These are the two people in your life who love you unconditionally, and they want to see your success. Whatever they say, if you listen, half the battle is won.
Wow, that's quite a lot of amazing information and advice and wisdom shared with us today. Ma'am, on behalf of every family who's watching this out there, on behalf of everyone in the studio, we thank you for sparing your valuable time and being with us. I absolutely enjoyed being in the show with you. Next week we have Mr. Thomas Matthew, the principal of our own Sharjah, on the hot seat with me, and this is an invitation that we extend to you. If you believe that your kids have done something worthwhile which could inspire others, please do give us a call. We'll definitely make sure that they'll join us on the hot seat and of course share their inspiring stories with the rest of the world. Be in touch with NTV. If you need to connect with me personally, I'm available on Facebook on Destination Success, and we'll continue this wonderful relationship. Ma'am, thanks a lot once again, and
thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure, and I hope you'll visit us again to continue this amazing teacher-student relationship with the rest of the world. Thank you. It's time for us to log off. Hope you had a meaningful session today. Thanks to all those callers who called in. And once again, let me repeat the advice to our young wards. As ma'am said, make sure you follow your feelings and make sure you follow your mind. Listen to your parents and aim to achieve exalted things, profound things, and take our beautiful country to her much deserved position among the greatest nations of the world. Jai Hind, have an amazing Republic Day, and see you next week. Till then, enjoy.